Hi everyone, and welcome to the first Wirral Theatre Festival podcast. You've got myself here, Robbie. I'm one of the organisers, and the other organiser, Craig, is here with me.
Hello, everybody.
So, Craig, why don't you tell everyone? Why don't you kick us off with why did we decide to do a festival?
Why we decided to do a festival?
Right then, why did I push you into doing
Robert
a festival?
decide to traumatise you by putting on a festival, Craig? Why was that a thing?
Well, let's be honest. You said, why don't we do a show together? Because we've done some TIE. For those who don't know, is theatre and education, where you play many parts.
Yeah.
In my Greek show. And I think you just fancied the idea of let's do a proper show together because we work well together.
Well, since before COVID, I haven't had a script in my hand, and you said you'd help me out with that by maybe we could, I don't know, spend a bit of time together, print off some old scripts, have a bit of fun, and then that quickly escalated to a phone call from Robert saying we have an appointment with the Floral Pavilion, which, for anyone that doesn't know, is probably, I would say, the most prestigious venue for theatre on the Wirral.
Yep.
And it's going to be later on today, and we're going to pitch them a theatre festival.
Are you available? Say yes, say yes.
And my answer is always, yeah, okay, let's do that then. Yeah.
You'll always give everything the time of day and then decide afterwards.
Yeah, that's probably a fair analogy.
But it was a successful meeting because we now have a theatre festival, don't we?
Yeah, we sure
and
do.
we've got 16 or 17 shows programmed into it.
Yeah, and that was hard work, but we're only probably 1/3 of the way through the process. So.
We're learning very fast, aren't we? Not so much about making mistakes, but just learning good ways to do things. And I think anything when you first start it is the most stressful because you've got to get all the things in place. We didn't have a website, all the social media. If we do this year on year, all the hard bits, all the kind of nuts and bolts and cogs will be in place after this year. So it should be. I'm not gonna tempt fate and say enjoyable because I think organising anything is always going to be stressful. It's the nature of the beast.
But the bare bones and the structure should be in place.
Yeah, we can enjoy more the process
forward.
of looking for the new scripts, finding new people, inviting people to come and perform, and just creating this great thing. Hopefully that we want it to be.
Yeah, well, I've been quite lucky because a lot of my role in this process as a producer is to go out and meet people and hear about their work.
You've had a lot of coffee, haven't you?
Yeah, I've drank a hell of a lot of coffee, Robbie, and I'm not really a traditional coffee drinker. You've done an awful lot of the heavy lifting with regards to making the website and doing a lot of the admin. Me being somebody who's dyslexic, not fantastically, see, I'm making it up now, I was doing so well. I'm not best suited to doing all of the social media posts and stuff. I always send that stuff your way anyway, as a second viewing. So you've kind of taken over that side of things.
But you have a voice. I mean, if you're not confident to write a post, you can always send a voice note of it. You know what I mean? And then it can be typed up. So you're
most
still involved.
Most of the time, it's just a complex I've developed from my youth. But sometimes it's nice to have a keen second eye.
Absolutely. So, and always, if someone could do something a bit quicker, I always think utilise the person.
Yeah, but you are the most busy person I've ever come across.
I know. I don't know what's going to happen when I retire. And
Robert doesn't sleep.
I do sleep.
He doesn't sleep. He snores when he sleeps, which is not very often, but he doesn't sleep.
I forget that you've shared hotel rooms with me.
Yeah, I know.
But you've got headphones in, so it doesn't bother you.
Yeah, I do, yeah. Classical music goes well with the rip of my door.
You get the bass from me.
Yeah. It's a remix of sorts.
So what was it like when you were thinking about, you were going to put on a show yourself? How did you think you were going to fit into all this? Because obviously with us kind of having a hand over the whole festival, it leaves little time for other things, although... Yeah,
so obviously when we set out to do the festival, one of the main motivators and one of the main things that is a driver for me is when I came out of my education at university, there wasn't necessarily a cohesive gateway into the industry, whether that be trying to get your first professional acting credits to get onto Spotlight, or whether it was to create your own work and have a platform. So I kind of looked at things and thought, what would I have needed, 5 or 6, 7 years ago when I came out of university? What would have made my life easier? And I've kind of offered that service to the people who have applied to be in our work, in our festival with their own work. And I've kind of used that as a template to kind of remove as many barriers for people as I could.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, I always thought, like, once you leave university, where do you go if you've not managed to gain an agent? Because not everyone does, and it's not always down to talent. It's whether they've got a gap for your look in their book or your style in their book. What do you do next? They kind of just kind of set you free after your 3 years if you've gone to drama school, and then kind of just hope you go on to do wonderful things, keep in touch, but we've kind of done our work now, it's over to you. Where do you go? I mean, as you say, I never stop, so I've always been a person, if I want to do something, unless there's something that's going to stop me, I'll find a way to do it. And if something's going to stop me, I'll still try and find a workaround if I can. I've been very lucky because ever since I left uni, I haven't stopped working if I wanted to. But I don't necessarily think it's because I was talented in the beginning. I think I had
Don't
a
be
lot of...
modest.
No. What I always say to anyone is I had some USPs. So I can play piano, I can sing fairly well. I wouldn't say I'm the best, but I can hold a tune. Do play violin as well. So if you want me for someone who can play a violin and act, I've got that extra string to my bow, as they say. So I always say to anyone, like, oh, what advice would you have? I say, have a skill, have an extra sellable skill alongside your acting or your dancing or your singing that's a bit unique, because if nothing else, it makes you memorable. I always think you want to be memorable, because that's what makes people want to come back and work. You're like, oh, I remember that person, they were quite interesting, or there was something about them, or I haven't seen them work yet, but there was something about them when I chatted to them. Let's get them involved.
Well, that's quite interesting, because you actually gave me my first job outside of university.
Weren't you
When I was
Rumpelstiltskin?
doing Rumpelstiltskin for you in children's theatre, so...
You were a fabulous Rumpelstiltskin.
Fabulous, yeah. Still walk with the same limp
I
today.
think we've still got the golden ball somewhere,
Really? Dig it out, and we're short of scripts next year.
I think what I'm loving that we've managed to achieve with this festival is we've got quite a diverse lot of shows, haven't we? Like, without going into too many details, but there's something with the family, isn't there? There's some performance work. We've got a couple of shorter shows where we've put them back to back, so you'll always get about an hour's worth of entertainment with each thing that you come and see, whether it's one or two stories. There's some drama, isn't there? There's a little bit of romance and comedy. There's a farce. So you've got quite a gritty one yourself, haven't you? That you've written?
I mean, there's something for everybody, but I think as important as hitting all of those boxes for the different genres, I think, is that it's all very affordable as well. So there's no barrier to entry for people who are normally thinking, oh, if I go to the theatre, I could be spending an awful lot of money if I want 2 or 3 tickets. It's
I mean, if they want to come and see 3 or 4 things...
If they want to spread that normal ticket cost across 4 or 5 different plays, you are absolutely more than welcome to do so. But it's one of those things where we are kind of aiming to be a parody with like a cinema ticket kind of thing, apart from getting that live interactive experience as well.
One of the things that's so important for me as well is if you are a professional, you should receive payments.
Absolutely.
It's very hard. It's one of the only industries, isn't it, where people kind of frown upon sometimes paying you. And there is a lot of what we're having to do, which is the profit share. But I always draw the line at, if you sell out something and it's profit share, then there should be a profit to share. And there's not always, and it is quite important to have a profit share, otherwise you're essentially working for free. And that, as I was always taught in business, makes it a hobby.
Yeah, I
agree.
It's
not a hobby, this is my life, this is what I love doing, and I think I'm good enough, and as are other people, to warrant a payment. So we're trying our best, aren't we? If it does sell well, we've kind of calculated there should be something worthwhile, people investing their time into this to get out of it at the end of it.
Yeah, and even if it's just for, say, one of... there's a couple of people who are making a journey over from Liverpool, and they are one person shows, and if they want to take their work somewhere else, it's a good opportunity for them to generate some money to then take it onto a different festival, a different venue. But
also the stuff, because you're offering, aren't you? Because this is where Craig kind of comes into his own. Obviously, I can do all the websites and I dibble and dabble in lots of things, but Craig's very much about film and audio visual media, aren't you? Like, we're hoping to offer, if for those who want to take advantage of it, the chance to do trailers. They can come on this podcast, and we'll do short form, long form videos, reels and all that. So if they do take it on somewhere else, they've almost got a media package from us to be able to, for free. Like, we're not after anything for it, just like we just want to help people.
But we also want people to feel like they're rock stars for a week.
Absolutely.
So that they do feel special, that they can share their work. And because a lot of people have got this idea of, if you want to be somebody who's creative or an actor, then it has to kind of like run this kind of format, and you have to kind of perceive yourself online as being this way or that way. And I think with pulling the curtain back on this particular process with these artists, it's, first of all, it's liberating for them, but also it shows that these people are just normal people. And sometimes, although a lot of them have come through the process of going to drama school, it could just be a case of, you really enjoyed doing some creative writing when you're at school. What would be the next step for that? Or
But also
for that process?
showing some people that actually you can do it. Because we think there's a good enough story that people come and watch. We're going to help you realise that in any way you can't. Because I think it's always important, if they can do something, they do it. And if not, we'll try and help as best we can. So if they think they can do their set themselves, that's fine. If not, we can help them source something with whatever money. I think we're very fortunate as well. We were very lucky to get some funding. Firstly, the Floral Pavilion in New Brighton, where we're going to be holding the festival. We're very lucky to get some funding from the Council for the Borough of Culture Year. So that's meant the risk is lowered for us. But that doesn't mean that we don't invest in it. It means we're able to invest a little bit more to be able to boost other parts of it, because we haven't got to worry about necessarily the venue hire, or so to speak. Because when you start out, I've always said, if you need to make work. As long as it's interesting, there'll be an audience. You might struggle to find it, but there's always an audience for stuff if the price is right and they're free. But you might have to have just a table and a chair to begin with. But hopefully, because we did get a bit of funding, we can help people jump past that hoop and go to an almost, fully ready to go version of it.
Yeah, I mean, also we've partnered up with local artist Jack Stubbs to do some of our posters.
Yeah, he's done some amazing posters.
And he's done some fantastic artwork for a couple of the shows, and you can kind of see that there's a
cohesive style.
Yeah, cohesive style. Yeah, that's running throughout all the posters.
And he was really good to work with. Jack's very much like I am with creative process and yourself. Like, he doesn't just listen to what you want, he also offers his advice and his insight. So, and I need people like that, because I always have a great idea, but I can't always communicate verbally or on paper what's in my head. So all I know is if they do something, it's like, oh no, that's not what I wanted.
Yeah, I thought I was just projecting a little bit of gibberish and a couple of weird sketches at Jack, and then no, he actually turned around his iPad screen and I was like, oh no, there it is.
That's what I envisaged.
Thanks, Jack, that's what I was looking for.
And do you know what, they're so rare to find these days, not just artists, actors, like people just open. I think you've just got to be open. You've got to try to be open. That's one piece of advice I give to probably my younger self as well. Just try to be open to the good, the bad, the criticism. I mean, I loved actually doing some writing for something proper meaty. I've done lots of stuff for schools, but actually writing something for a stage audience, for a mature audience, it was quite a challenge, but a fun challenge. I love that we had that writers group. And we've kind of decided we're going to try and keep a writers group going maybe once a month or once a quarter afterwards. For anyone who's got some work they want to kind of test read, bring it. We'll sit around, we'll have coffee, tea, whatever. I'll get some biscuits, I'll bake, I like bacon. And we'll just nicely rip things apart once they've read it. Or question things. Or even just yourself. Like, I know when I heard some of my script read out loud, I was like, oh, that line doesn't make sense now I've heard it. I need to change. Even just like changing 2 words around actually makes it feel more realistic, like a real conversation, not you're watching an actor perform on stage. Because I always think the best theatre, you forget you're in the theatre, you kind of get transported to whatever world they've created.
Yeah, and you've got this this idea that some writers and directors can be very strictly attached to their work, and that helps them create their work at such a high level. Then you've got other people who they seek out the collaboration and they seek the energy of different creatives to help them take their work to the next level. And both of those processes are equally as valid. And I think the writing group really does offer that second process for people who really crave it.
Yeah, I think it's not for everybody, but I really found it really kind of really uplifting.
Like, it was quite exciting for me, to be fair, because I came into the I think it was the second one or the third one that you did, so a couple of the scripts were a bit further down the line, and it's really interested to see people really diving into their work, and that excited me for the festival, because I was like, oh, it's actually happening. And
seeing other people around the table get excited to hear different bits of different stories and things, and think, well, if we're excited, that's got to be surely a step in the right direction, of this is something viable that we can do and just make a great piece of theatre or storytelling with it.
Absolutely.
So we'll wrap it up in a second, we've got a big diversity of shows. We won't go into any details, but basically we've tried to we've got it over 3 days in August this year, 2024, and we've got the first 2 shows each day are kind of family orientated. You can bring the kids along to them and they'll love that, lots of interactivity. And then after that it goes into the more kind of usual grown-up theatre category. Some of them are double bills, so if people have had really short stories, we put 2 30-minute plays back to back, but most stories are running, aren't they, between 45 minutes and 60 minutes.
Yeah, and that's running from the 28th of August through to Friday the 30th.
It is, and it starts basically at 1 o'clock every day. That's the first family show. Then roughly every 45 minutes after that, there is another show of some description, and they're all varied, aren't they? We've got some dramas, we've got some comedies, you've got quite a dark one, haven't you? That examines kind of like a dystopian theme, doesn't it? Without going into too much detail. Well, that's for another podcast, isn't it,
it's
Craig?
for another podcast. I'm still trying to figure out how I define that myself.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the joy of it, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
if you would like to keep up with us, if you've lasted this long into our podcast, you can go to our website to find out lots more details about the festival and all the shows. So that's at www.wirraltheatrefestival.co.uk, and then we are on social media, aren't we?
Yeah, we're on Instagram, we're on X, which Robbie still likes to call
Twitter. Always be Twitter.
Facebook is our preference because it's the easiest one to interact with, I believe. If you can find us anywhere that you want to meet
And
us.
Instagram, don't forget.
And Instagram.
Yeah,
It's
and
my
I think
personal favourite.
the hashtag or the at we were at on all of them is W Theatre Fest. So if you search W Theatre Fest on any of those, we should come up. And yeah, just give us a like, give us a follow. Feel free to share the word, and we just hope to see many of you on this journey with us.
Yeah, stay tuned.